guys. I've just I'm just making a video. I'm listening to it back, so I'll put my earphones in, which I'm just checking right now. But I started talking about why we still gravitate so much to fantasy stories and historical stories about myths and legends and folklore and all that stuff, which I think would be the same thing. Yeah. I think mostly because we're still not too different from the early Victorians. We actually love scary stories about mythical beings, creatures and monsters, all that kind of stuff. But because scientists actually haven't sorted out time travel to prove that none of these exist, I still believe in them. I actually do. And the thing of it is, I don't think our society would be very fun if scientists proved everything. And also, when you think of it, all the great stories of the centuries were found about. Fair enough, half of them wouldn't mention men, but Joan of Arc is a fantastic historical story. And what I think a lot of the stories that we hear about now would have sounded like witchcraft to a lot of the earlier people, but now we just accept it. So because I love mythical creatures, that's why I started this series, because I'm inspired by Harry Potter, Disney and Tolkien. And I think these are some of my inspirations for the two books I'm writing at the moment, which is kind of reading as a musical, but I don't know how to write music, so I'm just like taking it really slowly. But that's my main reason for starting this series. So I have covered this part in my video, so I'm just gonna go on to the fact that history teaches us things from the past, so hopefully we move on and don't make the same mistakes. Now, if you look at history of everything, history in general, but particularly history of the arts, you find that a lot of the times people change society through creative arts. Like if you know your European history, or even American history, which I'm still learning about the American side of it, because I'm just researching the fact of the Salem witch trials. I watched a documentary saying that some people think it was the early forms of epilepsy that caused the witch trials, and to the people, and some people thought that it was a fungus in the food or something. I've forgotten where I heard that. No, hang on. Next Rising Studios, a cosplay channel, but they did a sketch on that, on the Salem witch trial topics, and they believed that fun was bad. But if you swap it to the Europeans, I genuinely do think if it was either George III or George IV came back from France, I'll cut it short. He basically saved all of the theatres from Oliver Cromwell, and there was a time while one of the King Georges was away in France that they shut down pubs, sports, and the arts. And I thought, how would society be without these sort of things we have now? And I actually don't think society would have been that much fun. I mean, if you look at all these plays, plays are now starting to have topics where they want to make change to society, which that does give us the power to do, because the power we have as free thinkers and for free speech, we can actually make change. We comment on things that have happened in the past. That's what a lot of writers would do, and they always want to change the way society is. And suffragettes, they did that with the women's vote. And I genuinely do think now, if these brave ladies hadn't had sacrificed everything for us, no woman would have careers, and we wouldn't have half the civil rights. So that's where the writer comes from in me, because I have always loved to write, but I've always been too scared to do it. So when I would watch something like Robin Hood, that would kickstart my imagination, and I honestly do believe that fantasy and history do collide a lot of the time, and they also collide with our countries, because if you look at our country's myths and legends, we do have very similar tastes actually. The Mexican holiday, Dias Muertos. I apologize for my Spanish, guys. I still struggle with that name, and I'm still learning Spanish, so I'm sorry if I mispronounced that holiday name, but it's our Halloween. Now, I didn't know that Halloween in Celtic times was known as Halloween, so All Hallows Eve. And I got quite a surprise to find out that Mexico had similar traditions to the British. And Halloween came over here as well. So I think we all complement each other's countries in excuse me, in one way, but in another way we all have different variations of myths and legends. And we all inspired by each other's cultures. So I don't really think writers do really misuse our cultures. I think we all just inspire because it sparks our creative interest, and it sparks what we would choose to write about. So when fiction and history collide, it's actually really quite striking how similar we all are to each other. And why I love writing is for that reason. But if you look at fantasy as a general, it's more legend based than actual fantasy, and that's what Tolkien talks about in his books. I've just got that Tolkien talking about that would say with love, because I really think Professor Tolkien's work is amazing. I've got his Sindarin language book. Haven't fully read it yet, but it's really quite fun, and I know some Elvish words. But the language he writes has inspired me to create my own fictional language. So we all kind of inspire each other. And yeah, so let me know who you guys have. Anyone, please comment down below your top 5 mythical creatures, your top 5 history figures, or maybe top 3 history figures, or 5 if you feel brave enough. And also comment down below, because I'm interested in what you guys think. How do you guys feel about hybrid characters? Just out of curiosity, like mixing two creatures with others, or half a creature and half a human. How do you feel about that in books? I'm just really curious. And also, if you were in your favourite fictional books, what would you do? Who would you talk to? Where would you go? Anyway, guys, to write or not to write, but for now, I must bid you good night, and thank you for watching. Bye!